I watched a top movie on Netflix called The Occupant. It's a Spanish movie, and it's one of the best sort of psychological thrillers I've seen in a while. The acting was top notch. The main actor, Javier Gutierrez, he was phenomenal, playing a real dark, sinister role. I mean, and he really became this character. And the other standout was Mario Casas, who's another young Spanish actor. He's like in his 30s, and I've seen him in one other movie as well, and he was great in that. He's really good. I don't know how this guy hasn't broken into Hollywood yet. He could do action roles easily because he's a pretty big guy. And he's definitely got the on-screen persona for it. But this movie is about a guy who, the main character, played by Javier Gutierrez, he's a guy who, I guess he loses his job and he has to move out of their luxury Barcelona apartment with beautiful views, and he doesn't really want to let go of that lifestyle, and so he's trying to find new jobs that will keep his income at that level where he can maintain the lifestyle, but he just can't do it. And so he starts sort of feeling, I guess, homesick for his old apartment, and he goes and starts looking up who's living there now and becomes obsessed with the family who's living there now. And I'm telling you, this man's descent into envy and just sinister evil and madness is it's a work of art, the way it was done in the movie. The acting was superb, all right? And he slowly, through sinister manipulation and gaslighting, he destroys the life of this good man, played by Mario Casas, who's, a struggling reformed alcoholic who's, struggling to stay sober, but he's really giving it his all. And he's a family man who's trying to better himself and provide a good life for his family. And man, this Javier guy just destroys this man's life, completely destroys his life and steals his life. And I guess the movie might be a cautionary tale at how greed and envy for other people's circumstances can obsess people and lead them down a dark path into hell, because that's what happened in this. This Javier guy didn't give a shit about his own family, about ruining the life of this guy's family. He just wanted what this guy had. He felt this guy didn't deserve it because he was obsessed with what other people had and not with his own lot in life. He had a wife who loved him. He had a son who loved him as well and who needed his help and guidance. But instead of doing that and committing himself to his family, he just became obsessed with destroying this other man's family, which is disgraceful. But it's played so damn well. So I guess I see this movie as a cautionary tale. And as that, as that kind of movie, it works, absolutely. And it was gripping, it was suspenseful, and my God, the cinematography was beautiful. The direction was fantastic in this movie. And just wide-angle shots, steady cam shots, no shaky cam bullshit. And the lighting and just the cinematography in all was spectacular, amazing. It really stood out. All right, the script was great as well. When I first turned the movie on, it started with English play with the character speaking in English, dubbed, and that's unwatchable. I don't even know why. I guess it's good that the option's there. Some people don't want to read the subtitles or whatever. All right, or maybe they have a hard time reading the subtitles because they do come on and off the screen pretty quickly. But I tell you, I can't watch it because when the mouths are moving differently to the sound coming out, it makes it unwatchable for me. All right, but so I put it onto subtitles and I really enjoy it that way. After a while, you don't even notice you're reading them, and you're so sucked into the movie. And I was so engrossed in this film. It was so atmospheric as well. It's just perfectly paced, great dialogue, great cinematography, and the acting was out of this world, especially from the main character. And like I said, the guy played by Mario Casas, the reformed alcoholic who's trying to better his life, he played it really well. He's a great actor. They're all great actors in this movie. Even the ladies who play the wives were great as well. It's a top-notch thriller. If you really want to see a real psychological thriller, a real man's descent into evil and madness and self-absorption. I watched this movie, and it doesn't have a happy ending. This is a spoiler review, but the main guy, Javier, he doesn't get his just desserts. He doesn't get his punishment. He doesn't learn from his lesson. He ends up stealing the main guy's life. He gaslights the wife and convinces her that her husband is evil, turns her against him, makes her kill her own husband, and then he assumes the guy's life and marries the woman and becomes father to the daughter while completely abandoning his own family and just disregarding them like they never existed. He's a disgraceful, reprehensible character, but it's written so well that it's sort of believable, I guess, even though, some of the way the story unfolds is kind of outlandish, but it's just so entertaining and engrossing that it works for me, in my humble opinion. And some of the scenes where he's going into his apartment and he's trying to avoid being detected, really suspenseful. It's shot really well. The elevator scene was great. Just the whole damn thing. It's done so well. And about the ending, I saw one interpretation that the fact that he will never be satisfied, because you see when he moves into his new apartment, which is a downgrade for him after he's lost his job, and they have to downgrade. His new apartment has a leaky tap, and it really bothers him and annoys him. You can tell just from the great framing of the shot. You see the tap leaking, and then you see his face as he's watching it, and you can see that it's really getting on his nerves. And then right at the end, he's taken over this guy's life. He's got his great job back again. He worked his way back into his career, and he's making good money, and he's got a brand new, beautiful mansion of a house and a family. And then right at the end, you see that the tap's leaking again, and you see that it, catches his attention. And it's like, does that mean he'll never be satisfied? Because there's another thing that's slightly wrong in his life. Nothing is 100% perfect, and this guy will never be satisfied unless everything is 100% perfect. I don't know if that's what the ending was going for, but it makes sense, because he is the kind of character that's so self-absorbed, and he only worries about what's bothering him and what satisfies him, that maybe he will never be satisfied, because he has like an insatiable greed and lust for possessions and for status and a high-end lifestyle. So maybe that is the ending. But for me, the whole movie is just, like I said earlier, a cautionary tale at how becoming obsessed with other people's lot in life, instead of appreciating what you have and just trying to better your own situation. And even if you've got, some hard knocks and some bad circumstances that knock you back a little bit, it's all about, appreciating what you still have and then working hard to better your situation without worrying about what other people have. That's none of your concern. And to not look with greed and envy upon other people's circumstances if they're doing better than you, okay? Because at the end of the day, there's even though there are people there will always be people doing better than you, and there will always be people doing a lot worse than you. Okay? So that's the way life is. You shouldn't be worried about how other people are doing. Just focus on your own life and bettering and improving your own life. And then, once you reach a situation where you're in a stable situation and you've bettered yourself, then you can look around and help others as well. Okay? That's what I got out of the movie as a cautionary tale. Don't be envious. This guy was committing one of those 7 deadly sins, and I'd like to say it drove him to destroy his own life, but really it drove him to destroy the lives of his own family and that of this innocent man. And at the end, I think he really wasn't satisfied, because he was just self-absorbed and consumed with envy. So that's what I got out of the movie. It's a great movie. I won't rant on much longer about it, but check it out. I highly recommend it. The Occupant. It's a 2020 film on Netflix, and one of the better ones I've seen in a long time, and one of the better foreign films I've seen. And I'm telling you, the Spanish, they're making some bloody good movies. I've seen a few that are really good coming from the Spanish. I really like their cinematography. They don't seem to be down with the shaky cam too much, so I'm happy about that. All right, and the acting is great. They've got some great actors over there. Also, I've got to say, one of the more disturbing elements of this movie was the whole subplot with the groundskeeper at Javier's old apartment. And it turns out that the guy is like a real evil, sinister, child-abusing scumbag. And it sort of added some character depth to Javier, because the guy was blackmailing him and threatening to expose how Javier was manipulating the family of Mario Casas, how he was manipulating that family and breaking into their apartment and all that, because the groundskeeper figured it out. And he was blackmailing Javier for Javier to give the guy, put cameras in the daughter's room and stuff like that. And I thought, please don't help this guy. I was really hoping that Javier would at least have that line of that moral, as evil as Javier was, destroying the family. I was hoping at least he had the moral line to not hurt children, in that way at least. And he did. So that was a sort of a layer of character depth. They didn't just make him a one-dimensional villain where he's just, one note like in a slasher film. So Javier had some depth because he had that line. Whereas instead of going all the way and putting cameras into the girl's room to satisfy the disgusting evil of that bloody gardener, he killed the guy instead. So I was cheering for that, because that son of a bitch got what he deserved. He burnt the bastard. So that was probably one of the more satisfying parts of the movie. That guy getting what he deserved, the gardener. And it also, and like I said, it added a layer of complexity to Javier's character, where he wasn't just this one-note, one-dimensional villain. Yes, he was self-absorbed, and yes, he was, envious to the point of willing to destroy an innocent man's life. But he had that line where he wouldn't hurt kids, at least, So that just made the movie even more interesting. And, oh man, did I feel sorry for Mario Casas' character. He was such a good guy, willing to help. He was being Javier's sponsor at Alcoholics Anonymous, because Javier was pretending that he was a recovering alcoholic, and used that as a way to manipulate and get in to Mario's head and destroy him psychologically. And I felt so sorry for Mario's character. He was a good man. He was a good father, a good husband. He was really trying to better himself and provide a good life for his family. And he just had it all taken away from him and destroyed. So hopefully his character finds peace in the next life. That's how engrossed I was in the movie. The characters felt like real people. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. That's how good the movie is. It's a high recommend from me, especially if you like psychological thrillers. That I actually got it felt like it had some meaning to it as a cautionary tale, as I've said for the 100th time in this review. All right, I'll leave it there. Thanks, folks. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let me know if you liked or disliked this movie. Take care, be good, and I'll see you later.